Students, I am going to show you today how to do MLA In Text Citations. So first of all, what is an in-text citation? Sometimes when you're trying to prove a point, you need to refer to what someone else has written as evidence for why you are right in your opinion. So maybe you've read something that you think could be really convincing and you want to put it in your paper and somebody else wrote it. So you put it in your paper and then you use an in-text citation to indicate to the reader that the words on the page are what someone else has said. And usually when it's word for word, you use quotation marks. So for example, this first sentence here is what the student writer came up with out of her own head. Many students feel their cell phones are a distraction. And then you see we have quotation marks because this is the beginning of something she copied from online. As many as 80% of students said they wish they had more self-control when it comes to their cell phones. And then that's the end of the sentence that she copied from online, so there are end quotation marks. In this example, the writer was not the first one to state or write this sentence, so you have to use quotation marks to show that that came from someone else. So just using quotation marks is not enough. You also need to tell your audience where those words came from originally, and to do that, you use an in-text citation. So it's a parenthetical, it's something in parentheses at the end of a sentence that tells your reader where you found the quote. So an in-text citation will include both the last name of the author of the original article and the page number where the sentence can be found, and it's enclosed in parentheses. So for example, the quote above that we just saw came from an article by William Jones entitled "Why Students Should Ditch Their Cell Phones" on page 57 in the magazine Teen Life. So here's what an in-text citation would look like for that. You've got an open parenthesis, just the last name of the author, not both names, just the last name of the author, a space, and the page number where it came from, and then the closed parenthesis. So this thing is what we call an in-text citation. So what does it look like to include the in-text citation in an actual paper? Well, you have to pay attention to the punctuation. The in-text citation comes at the end of the material in quotation marks, after the last quotation mark and before the period. So in this example, many students feel their cell phones are a distraction. As many as 80% of students said they wish they had more self-control when it comes to their cell phones. And then we've got this in-text citation. So let's take a double look at the punctuation because it's tricky. You have the last word of the quote, quotation mark, space, open parenthesis, last name of the author, space, page number, close parenthesis, period. Sometimes, though, a student writer might not quote word for word an idea that she found online. Sometimes the writer might paraphrase an idea, and so those paraphrases still need to have an in-text citation. So let's say you just remember that you read something once and you think it would fit in really well in your paper, so you want to use it, but you're not writing it word for word, and you can still do that, but you still have to put an in-text citation because you didn't think of it first. So for example, if they were going to paraphrase our quote earlier, they might say about 80% of adolescents feel that they would like to have better self-discipline while handling their cell phones. That's a paraphrase. So here's how we would include an in-text citation. It's exactly the same except there are no quotation marks, but you still need that in-text citation to say where that idea came from first. So you notice the punctuation. It's the last word of the paraphrase, space, open parenthesis, last name of the author, space, page number, close parenthesis, period. So what if you don't have an author or a page number? If you can't find an author, include another piece of identifying information. Try the title of the article, or if that is available, you could put the name of the magazine or the website. If there's no page number at all, like on a website, for example, you just don't include a number. So you could have something like this. It's in quotation marks here because it's the title of the article, Cell Phones and Teens. So you can just include that in the parenthesis. If the title is really long, like the ways that cell phones impact teens can be really scary, you can just shorten the title. You could say cell phones impact teens, for example. If you want to include a really long quote that takes up more than 4 lines on a page, indent the quote, take out the quotation marks, and you put the period before the parentheses. So it would look something like this. And now you know how to use an in-text citation.